Thank you for joining me. We will be starting in approximately 1.5 minutes. We will be starting in approximately 20 seconds. Hi, and thank you for joining me on this early Thursday afternoon. My name is Wayne Lockett from Ascend Custom Designs. I'm a small business owner and a part of the xTool Squad program. The xTool Squad is a global network of experienced makers, educators, and small business owners such as myself. We offer one-on-one demos of the xTool products that we own, and the demos are a mix of online and in person. It differs by the host. Some of the squad members will also offer material testing and skill training. So material testing involves testing customer supplied samples under a number of different parameters to get you ideal results or perfect results. Skill training, on the other hand, is essentially a one-on-one masterclass with an xTool squad member. We will help you skip any learning curve with help from initial setup and maintenance to helping you perfect your projects. It really depends on what you want to get out of it. So if you booked skill training with me, for example, I would ask, what are you looking for help with? So is it help with using the machine, help with the software, both? So it's something that's very much tailored to what you want to get out of it. So those are the options in terms of the xTool Squad. I should note that we are normal people. We have purchased these lasers with our own money, at least I have. So we're not affiliated directly with xTool. So we're not xTool employees, should I say. So we're affiliated with xTool, but we're not employees. So we very much have our own businesses. And I was asked by xTool when this program commenced if I'd be interested in sharing my experience with other customers or potential businesses. And I said, absolutely. So what happens is right now, xTool's running a promotion. And what that means is for you, you can get a product demo absolutely free. And what happens for us as hosts is xTool will pay us, regardless if you buy a machine, purchase a machine or not. xTool will pay us for our time. So it's a fantastic opportunity for you to get hands-on experience. If you're thinking of purchasing a laser, if you're thinking of getting a new laser, if you've never experienced the xTool brand before, it's a really great opportunity to do so while it's free. And the product demos, again, are either in person or online. Where possible, I would say do an in-person demo. If you want to find out more information about the xTool Squad, you can follow the link below. I will drop a link in comments, and I'll show you on Safari exactly where to go with that if you're looking to book it through the website. So you can follow the links that I've dropped in the comments. I've also dropped my contact details in the comments. So if you're watching this after it's aired, please do reach out. I do get a lot of comments after it's aired. People reaching out, please continue to do so. I will respond to you. Along the top, you have this local support, free product demo. So when you click on that, you are greeted with something like this. You can select what you want in person. I can then go, do you know what? I'm looking for a P2S because I am in the market for a CO2 laser. They're presently on sale, so I'm going to be getting myself one of them. And we might go, do you know what? James has a F1, F1 Ultra, and P2S. And it's a simple case of hitting continue. I should type in my address here, so I'll just type in Birmingham. And we'll see who's there. There we go. So you can see James's availability. So it's a simple case of clicking on this, hitting continue. There's no payment details required. It's very straightforward. And then the host will be notified and will be in contact with you shortly thereafter. So it's a very nice way to get experience, and it doesn't cost you a penny. And I should note, just to be transparent, if you do go on to buy a machine, the host that you booked with will get a small commission. And here you can see the price, absolutely free. The only cost is for an apparel printer sample. So if you get that sample film that you'll use a heat press with, there is a cost to that. And for that to be mailed out and for the host time, it's $12.99 in Great British pounds. So you've got all the prices listed there in the different denominations. So with that being said, today's workshop is which laser do I need? So we explored that yesterday and on Tuesday. And what I want to get out there is there's literally is a right tool for the job. Some lasers like the F2 Ultra, they have dual lasers. They have two different types of lasers, so they can engrave and potentially cut a wide range of materials because of that. So first thing I want to say is there's a summer sale on. So if we click on the summer sale, there's not long left of it. So I've already had several people buy the P2S. I'm going to be purchasing the P2S very shortly. I've been trying to make room in the office. So you'll notice that when I switch it over here, I've moved things around. So I'm very much trying to make space for the P2S. I've got the O1 coming. I've got the Wonderpress coming. I'm running out of space very, very quickly. But the reason why I want P2S, other than one, it's on sale. Two, it can cut all types of acrylic, so all colors of acrylic. And that for me is going to go hand in hand with the O1, with the printing. So I can cut my acrylic shapes out and print to it, or do the print to cut. So I've got a couple of ways that I can do it. So right now there's a sale on. It's on for one more day, 11 hours, 53 minutes. You can win. It's always good to enter into the free competitions. So we'll start with the M2. So the M2 is an entry-level hobbyist machine. It's a very capable machine, I will say that. 10 watt, 20 watt diode versions, as well as a 3 watt infrared version. It has the print functionality, so it has an inkjet module that's full color, and that's the CMYK, the cyan, magenta, yellow, and black. So full ink, full colors of ink. And it is very much a budget machine. You're limited in terms of height. And we'll go through all the tech specs, but this is really for people that are moving from either a different type of machine, like a vinyl cutter, so a silhouette or a Cricut, to a laser and want to upgrade your game. But this is very much a budget machine, so it is what it is. It's very cheaply priced, but it's very packed full of features, and we'll go through the tech specs and you'll kind of see. And when I say that it's a very capable machine, I honestly do mean that. So the 10 watt diode laser cuts phenomenally. All the wood that I need it to cut, this thing cuts it, no problem. Now, you do have that print functionality. So it does add something different that the other lasers don't. So the M1 Ultra can print, but it can't print in full color in the same way that this one can. but the M1 Ultra does have a blade. So if you're looking to continue doing vinyl, the M1 Ultra's blade comes in handy there, because vinyl is not something you want to laser engrave. Most vinyls contain PVC, but unless it specifically says laser safe vinyl, it's not safe to laser cut or engrave. So that's the M2, and it's a gantry based laser. And again, it's very, very reasonably priced. Very capable machine. If you're just starting off your laser journey, this is one of the machines I would be looking at. So either this one or the F2, which we'll jump on just here. So the F2, this is craft maker's dream. Or if you're out and about, like to take your machines out and about. So if you've got a market stall, if you've got a side hustle that you do on the weekends, maybe you do car boots, you could take this with you. I've taken my F2 on the bus, on the train. It's 4.6 kilograms in weight. Got a handle on it, as you can see just here. Very, very portable. And it has two different laser sources, 5-watt infrared. That is very good for marking metal. So if you're looking to do some jewelry, that will come in extremely handy. And then it has that 15-watt diode. That's very good for marking and cutting. So marking slate, for example, you get that nice contrast with the diode laser that you don't get with other types of lasers when you use the infrared. You get phenomenal detail, but it looks more grey than white. So you do get a slight contrast difference. When you put them next to each other, you'll see. It really depends on what you're looking for. But that diode laser comes in great for engraving leather, cutting little pieces of wood maybe. This machine, the Galvo machines, don't have air assist, and that makes a big difference in cutting and in getting not getting scorch marks. But in terms of engraving, this thing is an absolute beast and a steal for the price. It's capable of going a max speed of 6,000 millimeters a second. Very, very fast. Now, if we have a look at the F2 Ultra UV, this is the one you would look at if you're specifically working with glass. So with a Galvo based laser, which this is, so the F range of machines are Galvo based lasers. So they're very fast, but you're limited in terms of the work area compared to the gantry based system. So the S1, the M series, the P series, which is the CO2 lasers. So the gantry based systems have a smaller work area, but this thing, again, absolute beast. It can engrave on all sorts of materials. And again, you should always check if it's safe to do so. Just because you can doesn't mean you should. But this thing is an absolute beast with glass. So if you're working with glass, this is a must have. So I've done glass cups or pint glasses. I've done wine type glasses. I've engraved on the inside of glass, K9 glass, on the keychains as well as the glass blocks. And I've also engraved on things like silicon. And you might think, I might be able to do that with another laser. And that you would be absolutely right. But can you get this level of precision? So this is not a picture. This was engraved on this silicon strap with the F2 Ultra UV. And same with this. So this is a ring plug. Don't know how well you can see that, but it's a ring plug. And again, the detail, the level of detail that you get on this, absolutely phenomenal. So that's just some of the things you can do with the F2 Ultra, so UV. And again, it's about choosing the right laser for the job. So what laser do you need? You need to ask yourself, what products do I want to make? Or what products do I want to engrave? Because this F2 Ultra can cut wood. It's not made for cutting wood in the sense of you got better tools for the job, like a CO2 laser, a high-powered diode laser. But the stark difference is in the wavelength. So the 5-watt UV laser operates on a completely different wavelength, and you get a completely different result. If I was to show you a good case in point, this simple giraffe. So this was engraved and cut out with the F2 Ultra UV. It took many, many passes. But you can see here, absolutely no charring. So after the fact, I give it a slight haircut. You might not be able to tell, but if I was to show you here, that was cut with a diode laser. So you can see the difference. And again, if I was to show you a different one, so this is just a coin. This was cut out with a diode laser. I then cut it out again with the f2 Ultra UV, and again, you can see the difference. The same wood, charring, no charring. And the tolerances, the dot size on the UV laser is so tiny. It's literally, I can't get this back in unless I get it dead level. If I don't put that back in dead level, all in one go, it's honestly, it won't go in. There we go. So that stays in place. Whereas with a diode laser or a CO2, you might find that it will drop out because the width of the laser is bigger, and therefore it's burnt away, it's vaporized the material. So you have slack, I guess. So that is some of the differences, I guess, that you need to consider when buying a laser. Now, if we continue on down, you do have the ultras, so the high-powered ultras in terms of not the UV version. So the f2 Ultra UV was the one that I just showed you. This is the f2 Ultra, and they're not to be confused because the plain old f2 Ultra is a very different laser. So this is the dual laser version, effectively the big brother of the f2. Now, this one has a 60-watt MOPPER fiber laser, as well as a 40-watt diode laser. And it's capable of cutting various thicknesses of metal, depending on what type of metal it is. But you can physically take out the metal. So whereas the f2 will mark the material, mark metal with the infrared laser, this one can physically take out material where you can feel it, that it's gone out of metal. So it's fantastic, and you can get some colors with this laser too, because it's that MOPPER source. You're able to control varying aspects of the laser, the pulses, basically you're able to control it in a very, very highly specific way to get repeatable results. So if you work with metal and strictly with metal and small pieces of metal in that, because the work area, again, you're looking at about 20 centimeters by 20 centimeters work area, this is the laser for you. If you want to up your game and do more than just mark metal with the f2's 3-watt or 5-watt infrared laser, this would be the laser that you'd be going with, because this, again, is way faster than the f2, and they got that larger bed size, and more importantly, that MOPPER laser that you can highly control, that has high amounts of control, that you can do all sorts of stuff like these colors. And again, like I said, it's repeatable. And that's the key thing when you're selling things. If it looks like this and the customer orders it, that's how it should come to them. And then you do have just the F1 Ultra. So the F1 Ultra has, I believe, a 20-watt fiber laser. So it's a less power basically. But this come out first. So maybe you want to mark metal, you want to engrave metal, but you don't need the power, or you don't need to do some of the things that the F2 Ultra does. Then this might be the one for you. More budget friendly, comes in at $2,669 at the moment. Again, this is on sale. It's only on sale for a couple more days. And then finally, you got the CO2 lasers. So the CO2 lasers, I get a lot of questions about lasers, as you would imagine. I get a lot of demos. And sometimes from the get-go, I know that a customer is wanting a specific machine, but actually needing another, just based off what they've told me. So, for example, if you said to me, Wayne, I want to do acrylic cake toppers, my first question to you would be, what colors of acrylic? Because if it's anything other than black or really dark, opaque acrylics, you're going to need a CO2 laser. The M2 isn't going to cut it The S1 isn't going to cut it. The M1 Ultra, not going to cut it. You need a CO2 laser to cut all types of acrylic. So you have a couple of options. You have the Beast, that is the P3, and this is an 80 watts of pure insane CO2 laser. I would absolutely love to have this machine. I would have it in a heartbeat, but I honestly don't have the room here in the office. That's the first consideration. The second consideration is it's very, very heavy. It comes in a pallet, and I don't have easy access to the back garden, so getting it through, it just won't work for me. If I get an industrial unit, or I should say when I get an industrial unit, this is the machine that I will be looking at getting. But right now, what will fit here in the office nice and easy that my meager little bones can carry would be the P2S. And this is a 55 watt desktop CO2 laser, so it has smaller bed size but still massive in comparison to the Galvos. But I'm able to cut all colors of acrylic with this machine. Now, I don't know about you, but some of the products that I have in mind that I want to come out with. So I know Christmas is not really around the corner, but my mind is gearing towards Christmas. I do have material on order. I want to be in control though of some aspects. So if I have all the material I order sold, I then have to wait to order some more. So there's a time frame in terms of delivery. And then around Christmas, those tend to extend further. Now, if I had this P2S, for example, I can cut all colors of acrylic. So I'd be looking at stocking clear acrylic here in the office. There's a couple of suppliers locally to me. I can order online from a couple of suppliers that I use for other things. I can readily get acrylic the next day if I need to, without a problem. Now, my issue is if I did that, I have no way of cutting it. So this CO2 laser, this is where it comes in. I might have an order from a customer for 10 Christmas ornaments, say. I can cut out the ornaments on the acrylic and then print it or engrave it. So with the CO2 laser, I could cut and then engrave, or engrave and cut, however you want to do it. Or when I get the O1, you have that print and cut feature. And it might be what I like to do, what I tend to do is I stock certain sizes, certain colors of certain materials. I cut them down to shape. I make mass amounts of them. So a good case in point would be the humble reindeer Christmas. So this is just cut out on 3mm plywood. I order in the large sheet. I cut it down with my S1 and now my M2. A Lindt chocolate will fit perfectly here. I can up that game, up that ante, and cut this out on acrylic. So what I tend to do is cut out a lot of these blanks. I will then engrave them on my F2 or my F2 Ultra UV, depending on what type of effect I want to get. So I have the raw materials ready, basically. So if I get this CO2 laser, I'm able to turn blank sheets into finished raw product that I can then process again, or I can save it for next year maybe. So I want to be more flexible. A customer might want a ornament that has a gold backing, in which case I don't have to go and order it. I have the raw material, the gold acrylic sheets. I can ask them how thick. I can customize it so much more to their needs. And I then can say, do you want me to engrave it, or do you want me to print on it? So that's my aim. I do have raw material coming, like I said. So I have glass ornaments coming. But when I've run out of those glass ornaments, I'm going to have to make sure to keep the ordering cycle going. And there is a time frame on these glass ornaments. So with the acrylic, I'm more in charge of that. And that's what it boils down to, me being in charge of my supply chain, so to speak. So that is why this is kind of went from a want to a need. And what I need to do is make space, because I do have the O1 coming and I've made enough space for that. I also have the Wonder Press. So I need to clear out some more boxes. So if I was to order this P2S now, I need to figure out where it's going. And my window is just back there. So I will be doing that. I will be figuring that out today and tomorrow because the price right now is absolutely amazing. It's a steal for what it is, and it comes jam-packed with advanced features. This for me is a no-brainer, and it's probably why I've sold several of them this week already. Is xTool are pretty much giving it away for what it does at this price point. And then finally, you do have this metal fab. So the metal fabrication machine is more geared towards metal workers or welders. So instead of using expensive gas, you can use electric, and you have different options. You can hook this up to a CNC machine. So if you're not got the required skills, or maybe you don't want to learn how to weld, you can drop this into a CNC machine and have it precision cut sheet metal. So you don't need to be a welder to be able to do that. You could have it cut dog tags out of raw material, much like CO2 laser will cut out of acrylic. So that's something that you might want to look at if you are interested in that. I think the ideal place for this, for just without the CNC machine that attaches to it, with just the metal fab, the laser welder, would be body shops, body repair shops. The amount of money you could save by going electric versus using expensive gas. And yes, there are parts that you need to replace, like the laser lenses, for example. But for the cost savings, it's very much worth it, I think. When I looked at the figures, if I had a repair shop, this is where I would be going, especially with the price of oil at the moment, with the price of gas. And then you also have this apparel side of stuff. So this is the apparel printer. If you want to make your own prints for your t-shirts, this is where you would go. And this isn't an engraver. This is very much a printer. And then to go with that, you have this Wonder Press. And again, I do have this coming. The vacuum, 3D vacuum forming. Absolutely amazing idea. Cannot wait to try this out. And it's, again, I can offer you a discount above everything that is offered. So if I was to go over to here, I can do an additional discount. So there's my information on the screen. I can offer you an additional discount on top of any discounts from xTool. And again, you're buying direct from xTool. It's just that I can run it through Host Assist and give you another discount on top, which is very nice. Now, with all that being said, if I jump in to some of the tech specs, so this is just a brief workshop. Which laser do I need? After I showed you that, the tech specs will ask the question, do you need a laser? What if it's not a laser that you need? So I'll let people think about that for the moment, and we'll jump in to the M2. So the M2 is a 10 watt and 20 watt diode laser machine at the moment. So that there might be future increases in the types of diode laser it can take. But right now it comes in two flavors of diode laser, the 10 watt and 20 watt. You also have the option of that 3 watt infrared module. And then you also have a print functionality. So that CMYK inkjet module, you can print in color with that. And just to show you, you can very much print in color. And it does work. And again, it takes on the color of the back. So because this is light, this has a very nice contrast. This is darker background, so you can see it looks a little bit washed out, but still very crisp, very clean. And you might see that this is treated. This is the same piece of wood, same process, but I didn't pre-treat the wood. So if you're wondering how I got that nice result versus that, if you tune in tomorrow, tune in on Saturday at 8 a.m. I'll be happy to go over it. I'm just specifically focusing on the M2 on Saturday morning at 8 o'clock. It's the M2 questions and answers. I'll go over all the nitty-gritty details. I'll do some demos. I'll be going over it all. So please do check that out. This is a fully enclosed class 1 laser. What that means is It does not leak any light. Very safe to be around. You don't have to wear glasses when you operate it. If you do try and open it while it's working, the machine will stop. If the lid is open and you send a job to it, it won't start. It's a very, very safe machine to have in your home, to have around your pets, around little hands. Not that they should easily be able to grab this machine, but if some little hands was to lift up the lid while it was working, it wouldn't hurt them. So it's a very safe machine to be around. In terms of features, this machine really does come jam-packed with features that are found in the more flagship models, so like the P2S, the P3. So it has this dual camera system. It has a 5 megapixel panoramic camera, and that's located on the lid. So as you lift the lid up and close it, it takes a picture automatically. That is a fantastic feature. I've used it a ton, and it just honestly doesn't get old. It also has an additional camera that is located to the right of the module assembly. So where you put the laser modules or the inkjet module, to the right of that, you'll see a little camera icon on the top, and that is that 2 megapixel camera that points down. And just so you know, there is so much more to a camera lens than just the megapixels. The lens makes all the difference. So the 5 megapixel has a panoramic lens, whereas the 2 megapixel does not. So although it's only a 2 megapixel camera, quality on it is night and day different than the 5 megapixel. So the megapixels is only a part of the solution when it comes to cameras. Now, this does feature some other nice features, such as it will automatically detect what type of materials in the base, and it will work out what the best settings are. So you put some slate in there, for example, a slate coaster, it will detect it as slate and come up with some settings for engraving and scoring, for example. So it gets you in the ballpark. Very nice feature to have, especially for newbies if you're just starting. However, you should know your material. It's just best if you know what material you're putting in there. So always know your material. Banks and financial institutions have this know your customer, KYC, know your customer, and very much we should have the know your material, KYM, so know your material. In terms of speed, 6,000 millimeters a second. This is a gantry-based system, so it moves on an X, Y, and Z axis. And that is why it has that speed it does. So it's very typical for a gantry laser to have a 600 millimeter a second speed. And then in terms of assembly, it comes pre-assembled, ready to use out the box. Once it's unboxed, then it's boxed very well. I should note that. You do need to do a brief calibration test, but you're ready to go after that. So there's no manual assembly required. If you want to find out more information about that, please do scan the QR code on screen. I'll also drop in the M2 link to the UK website. So this will take you to the UK xTool website for the M2 where you can look at the specs. And again, a very nice laser, and the bed size is 42.6 centimeters by 32 centimeters in terms of usable area. Max usable area, I should say, depending on what type of laser you have in there. So the 10 watt, 20 watt diodes will give you that maximum workspace. 3 watt infrared module will reduce that workspace a little bit. And the inkjet module, because it's so wide and deep, will reduce that further. So with all that being said, if I switch over now to the F2, so this is the baby of the family. This is my favorite for taking out and about because it's dainty, 4.6 kilograms, comes with a handle. I've taken it on the bus, I've taken it on the train. Honestly, it's a star performer at craft shows, markets, car boots. Power draw is very low, you can run it off a battery. If you've got a big battery bank, you can run it off that. And this is a dual laser system, so it's capable of engraving well over 300 plus materials with that 5 watt infrared and 15 watt diode. In terms of speed, it has a maximum speed of 6,000 millimeters a second. And you'll see that the previous laser was 600. This is a Galvo laser, which is why it's able to go 10 times faster, 6,000 millimeters a second. It has no moving parts that you can see. What happens is in the laser head in the laser source. It's a couple of mirrors there, a galvometer. And what happens is the laser will bounce off a couple of mirrors that will change just slightly, and it will bounce it around the bed. And because of that, you're able to get these rapid speeds of 6,000 millimeters a second or higher. Now, it does come with one drawback, and that is the usable work area is reduced because of distortion. So if you think about it this way, when a laser is directly underneath, it's, you focus it, it's a set distance. It's a relative distance from the laser. It might be, say, 20 centimeters from the laser. Now, as it bounces around and moves further to the edges, you get further away. So the laser becomes out of focus, and it does account for this in the type of lens that it uses. So I've always wondered how it is able to stay in focus. So if you think of when you try and start a fire with a magnifying glass, you want to get that tiny dot. Now, if you was to then put a object that's further away under that same light, it goes out of focus. So the way that it does it is the shape of the lens will take this into account of the actual laser. And as you go towards the edges, it curves up and it's able to stay in focus. But that can only help so much in the sense of space. So you're limited on space. In this case, with the f2, you're limited to 11.5 by 11.5 centimeters. You can extend it up to 40 centimeters in width using the slide extension. But that's kind of where you're at with the Galvo laser. You get speed, but are lacking in space. In terms of features, this has a 50 megapixel camera that allows a live workspace preview. So it takes a snapshot of what's in the workspace, and it's accurate up to 0.1 millimeters when fully focused. So this machine, when you focus it, you'll have a red dot and a blue dot, and all you simply do is get the red dot and blue dot to intersect, and that is the perfect distance the laser is from the material. You can have the software do this automatically, or you can do it manually using the little nib, or I shouldn't say nib, the dial on the side that you can just see. That dial you turn up and down, and it's also a button. You press the button when you want to start the machine. There's a fantastic bit of kit. If you want to find out more information about that, I will drop the F2 information in comments. Now, this machine does also come pre-assembled and is ready to use once unboxed, and you do the calibration. And the reason why you do a calibration is things move over time. Things also move in transit. It's good to do a calibration. So I've had to do a calibration when I've taken my machines from the NEC back home and from home to the NEC. It's just good to do it. It gives you optimum results from the get-go. Now we have the xTool F2 Ultra UV. So this is a 5-watt infrared, 5-watt UV laser, sorry. So this is not the F2 Ultra. So the F2 Ultra is a completely different product. This is the F2 Ultra UV, specifically UV only. Now, this machine is capable of engraving a ton of different materials because of the type of laser that it is. So it's sometimes known as a cold processing laser, and that's because it uses its high photon energy to break down the molecular bonds of the material that you're working on, and it does so with minimal heat. So the key word there is minimal heat. So whereas a diode laser and a CO2 laser get hot and char, as you could see with the little giraffe that I showed you earlier, you get that charring when the diode laser is cut. The UV laser does not do that. It breaks the molecular bonds and is able to cut through it in that way. And it's not to say it doesn't produce heat, it just produces minimal heat. Because of this, you're able to engrave on a wide range of products, of materials. This is what type of laser they use to mark circuitry, because it's very, very gentle. It can mark sensitive electrical equipment without damaging it. So this is sometimes known as cold processing, and that's kind of where that name comes from. So in terms of specs, it can operate at a max speed of 15,000 millimeters a second, and has a camera system that has 48 megapixel camera and allows an alignment accuracy of up to 0.2 millimeters when properly engraved. And this is the glass specialist. You can engrave on the inside of glass. It's actually quite amazing when you see it in action. So I do keychains, I do the glass K9 blocks. It's very, very nice when you see that effect, especially with light underneath the glass. The result you get is quite impressive. So xTool allow you to generate a 3D image from a 2D image within the software, and that's kind of the key to the castle with all these machines. Is you're not just buying a machine, you're buying software that is very intuitive, very easy to use, and free. This machine comes pre-assembled, it's ready to use out the bat. Again, you do need to do a calibration for the reasons I mentioned before. In terms of the workspace, you're looking at about 20 centimeters by 20 centimeters workspace. And again, you can increase that width up to a maximum of 50 centimeters with the conveyor belt. And that operates in a very different way than the slide extension. But if you want to find out more information about that, check out the QR code. Alternatively, have a look at the link in the comments and follow that. And that'll take you to the official UK website of xTool. Now, with all that being said, what laser do you need? So I mentioned some things about what lasers are good for, what types of laser are good for chopping wood or acrylic, if you're working on metal, if you just want to mark metal versus physically take out material. Now, what if you want to do printing? So the reason I mention this is xTool have just released a new product. It is the xTool O1 Omni printer, and oh boy, is it a very capable machine. So it's a 4-in-1. It's literally the world's first. So xTool, when coming up with names, it was originally just the UV printer, the xTool's UV printer. Now, xTool have decided to change it to the O1 Omni printer, and that is because Omni means all powerful and all encompassing. It represents the highest level of compatibility amongst small businesses, geeks and makers, and the xTool O1 is literally the industry's first desktop printer that combines UV printing, UV DTF transfers, DTF film transfers, and direct to garment printing in a single machine. And it does come in 3 variations. So the cheapest is 1,400 right now. And honestly, if you look at the closest competition, that's like half cost. With the different extensions, accessories, like the rotary device, you can 3D map a cup. And they say it's compatible with up to 90% of cups. So you get a 3D image of the type of cup that you've put in there. You can drag and drop your design on there and see how it looks in real time. So there's no more guesswork. So if you're anything like me, I do tumblers, but I don't offer it publicly in the sense of I don't let customers know that I do tumblers. If they already know I do tumblers, then I will sell tumblers to them, but it's not something a product I push because I dislike doing tumblers personally. I just dislike them. It's very time consuming for me to do tumblers versus engraving keychains on my F2 Ultra UV. So I'm not a tumbler guy. I will do them to make money, absolutely, but I don't promote them. Now with the O1, I will 100% be promoting tumblers. If someone wants a tumbler, I will try to steer them down the route of the full color tumbler, full wrap, or printing their name in color as opposed to engraving it. And you can do a variety of different things depending on which model you want. So if we was to scroll down and just have a look at the specs. So this up here is all the demo rooms, for example. So they're scattered all over the world. Highly recommend you check out, and that's the squad, xTool squad. Now, these are the 3 variations. So you have the UV plus DT. So if you say, Wayne, I want to use the UV machine print onto fabric, this is the machine you will need. None of the other machines are capable of doing that. It's a completely different set of ink. So that's what you would need for that. The dual head, if you said to me, Wayne, I want to print on leather wallets, I want to print on tumblers, I want to print on paper, maybe, I want to print on cardstock, I want to print on glass, this is the machine for you, the dual head. And the reason for that, the logic behind that, is if you're printing on flexible material, and by flexible I mean you can bend it. So let's just say a leather wallet can flex, a leather patch, it can flex. So if I was to show you, this is a leather patch. If I was to print on this and it flexes, so like that, I would need the dual head UV laser. And the reason for that is it has the ability to have flexible ink. It's just a flexible white ink that has a base coat before it prints color, and that will stop the ink from cracking. If you was to print on that with the single UV that doesn't have that flexible ink, when you bend it, the ink will crack and it will drop off and it will look bad. So if you want to print on flexible materials, you do need the dual head UV edition. Now, if you said to me, Wayne, I just want to print on hard surfaces like coasters, wood, acrylic, this is the machine you would want. And there are benefits to going with the dual head in terms of print speed, but this will do tick the boxes. So if budget is an issue, single UV edition. And honestly, the price point, 1,400 at the moment, absolutely steal. Like I was thinking it was going to be double that. I was shocked at how cheap it was. I went with the dual head UV, and I'm seriously contemplating getting the UV plus DT. I just lack space at this moment in time, and I want to give other people a chance to get their machines. These are on pre-order already. There's a high demand. If you're thinking about getting one, I would highly recommend you get in the queue now. Price is only going to go up. And in terms of what you can do, there's common features that all these can do. Because you got that UV aspect, you can print UV DTF stickers on all these. So UV direct-to-film stickers can be printed on all these as long as you have the laminator. And there are benefits to getting the UV, like the dual UV, like the fluorescent inks. But there's common things that you can do with all of them. The vision systems all the same. Positional accuracy is all the same. Embossed print height, so the height you can get when printing with the UV ink is all 7 millimeters. Automated maintenance, all the same. Machine dimensions, all the same. So the difference between the machines is the internals, not the dimensions. So with this UV plus DT, it does have dual heads, much like this. But what happens is on this one, the one ink will come out the one print head, and the other ink, the DT ink, completely different ink, that's fabric safe, will come out of the other print head. Now you can use this machine to synergize with other machines. If you already have an xTool machine, or maybe you're looking at investing in a business idea, these machines work seamlessly with each other. So by that I mean, when I talked about the CO2 laser earlier, you can do print and cut. And if I was to scroll up, you will see the print and cut feature just here. So if it plays back from the start, you'll see it printed there on the acrylic. They've put it in this is the P3 by the looks of it, and it cut it out. So you can cut out loads of shapes first and then print on it afterwards, or you could do this print and cut feature, and it's printed those white alignment dots that when you put it in the base of the P2S of the P3, camera system will pick that up and it will know what to do. So it just helps with the alignment accuracy, and xTool have made this absolutely simple. Simple. If I can train someone in less than an hour and they're competent in it, that tells me the software is going in the right direction. And not just that, it's not lacking in features. It's has an abundance of features. If anything, xTool are continually adding new features. I anticipate that there to be an update at the beginning of next month. One, because they're adding the support for the O1, but two, there's other things coming down the line in terms of features. So xTool are constantly adding new features, and they do listen to customers. They listen to people like myself that run a business using their machines, and that's fantastic because they've implemented features over the years that have saved me so much time. If you're going to do this as a business, if I was to switch over to the xTool Studio, so this is the software that you can download for free today. And what it does is it empowers you. And what I'll do is I'll drop a link to the software in comments. You can download this software today. It's absolutely free. It only works with xTool's lasers. But they have varying things to enable you to do what you want to do best and make and craft. xTool Academy, I've used this more and more recently, helping customers out with machines that I don't own, or if maybe there's something specific that I don't know. I'm able to see it in the xTool Academy. And you're able to click on specific course and crack on with it. Some of them are loads of pictures, some of them are YouTube style videos. Very handy to have. Now, custom things. If you are a business owner or are looking to turn this into a business, I would highly recommend you look at custom things. xTool does have an enterprise version, so if you have multiple stores, multiple locations, this all works with that. This right now is the small business version. If you want to look at the enterprise version, please do reach out. My contact details are on screen. I've got a demo account and do use the enterprise version. I have this version set up here for testing. So if I was to go over to orders, you can see the orders that have come in. When a customer places an order, they do all the customization. It takes all of the work off you. And by that, I mean, I've done family trees. I've said this multiple times. I absolutely love doing family trees. It's very personal. It's a product that has high profit margins and people will pay a premium for it. Now, the issue I have is the amount of time I spend talking to the customers, getting their requirements, and then they say, I want this specific design. We're good to go. I get all the names. I have to double check to make sure I spelled the names right, or copy and paste manually, copy and paste. I then send over a draft and say, this is what it will engrave like. And then they come back and go, can you change this? Can you change that? Can you move this person over there and this person over here? Can you change the font? And before you know it, I've spent an hour and I've not even made the product. So I had the template ready to make, just had to enter the names, and I've spent over an hour and I've not made a product. Now, custom things will allow the customer to do all the customization. So by that, I mean, if I was to show you Safari and go over to here, and if I just go back and go back, so this is just my test store. And I could say, do you know what? That golf marker, £5. You can see the delivery, you can see the pickup times, customize. The hardest thing is adding the product photos and setting the parameters. Once you've done that, you are literally good to go. Your employees only need to know what material needs to go in what machine. The customer can add text. They can add images. They can change the font. You can limit the fonts, which I would recommend. Add images. So these are images that you've pre-selected, or you can let the customer upload an image. Doodle, so if they want to, and then submit. And what happens is when you submit, that will come up as an order here. And if I was to hit reprocess on this, it will automatically open it up, as you can see here. And it's opened up in the right laser, and it's got the information that the customer has done. themselves. So the customer has taken the work, done spent the time. In this case, if it was a family tree, the customer would have designed the family tree, hit submit, and we can engrave it exactly like that. If the names are wrong, that's on the customer. It's not a mistake we've made, it's a mistake they've made. All the settings are there too. You can see all the settings. The xTool are really setting you up for success with this custom things, and you can create different products. If you use xTool's materials, you can have all the product photos directly imported. You don't have to take your own. I should note you can buy xTool materials. I'll drop a link in the comments if you want to buy xTool materials. If you want a discount, please do reach out. I can give discounts via Host Assist. So if you're looking at a machine and want an additional discount, please do reach out to me. There is options available. So sometimes that's what people need to push them over the edge to get a machine. Everyone likes a discount, just like me, which is why I'm going to be buying the P2S very, very soon. And you have your products. It's very, very easy to do. And yes, there is a cost to this. So in terms of what you want to do, if I was to go home and just scroll down, go to my subscriptions, I am currently on this plan. So it's $19 a month, about £15, just less than £15 a month. And I can do up to 100 products a month. If I don't have an online store and use their payment gateway, 2.5% plus 20p. Obviously, pickup means cash exchange, so you can just offer cash only if you want. There is a free version, and you do have abilities in the free version. It's limited, but you can kind of get it set up and see if it's where you want to go. If you've already got a website, you can incorporate this into your website. So there's a customer that I had that has xTool products, uses it for his wedding business, and he wanted a demo of a different machine. I demoed the machine, and he was talking about some of the common problems he has with his business, and how busy it can kind of make him. And one of those is when he takes orders off Etsy, he can copy and paste names wrong, and it just becomes an issue for him because it's lost time, he's wasted product, he spent money on shipping, it's lost money, lost revenue. So he was telling me about his woes. And I said, why don't you use custom things? Because it works with Etsy. And what it will do is it will send the customer the link and they will customize it. And they will spend all that time. And if the name is wrong, that is on the customer. So when I showed him this, he snapped it up straight away and said, this is going to save me a ton of money. But more importantly, it's going to save me a lot of time. So do check it out. It's very handy to have this. And again, they do offer an enterprise version. I do have access to that. So if you're looking at getting the enterprise level, it works in very much the same way. You just have multiple stores and it does come in handy. So this is being implemented at a certain retailer in the UK. I can't name it yet, but I'm sure you'll see it soon enough. And it's a fantastic idea, a fantastic bit of kit. And it just makes things so much easier. I use this at craft fairs. You have a QR code, they can scan the QR code. Customers can customize something while they're in the queue rather than waiting for me to do it on a PC, and that's all I'm doing. They can do all the work. I can engrave. I can have someone engraving for me while I take a payment, for example. The xTool set you up for success. And their ecosystem just works. It honestly just works. So I moved over from Lightburn well over 2 years ago, I would say. So I use Lightburn for all my lasers. xTool Creative Studio, as it was known then, come out with an update, and the update improved a lot of things. It improved the algorithm that it uses to generate the G code, which is the way that it will engrave or cut. And because of that, it cut the time in half that it used to be. So a job that would take an hour, with whatever change they made, it literally took 30 minutes. I don't know what change they made, but the change was on par with what Lightburn was giving me. So that's why I used to use Lightburn, because it would give me the same result but quicker, and obviously time is money. So xTool learned from that and they updated the software, and it was a game changer for me, because the xTool Creative Studio had features that Lightburn didn't have. It's very clunky, it's very hard to train other people on. And now we're in the incarnation of xTool Studio. So they've recently rebranded to xTool Studio. And honestly, I can train someone in an hour or less how to use software. And it's very much like Apple in the sense of when something new comes out, it's everything that you had before, plus maybe some other stuff. So you don't have to completely relearn everything. So when I get a new machine, when I get the CO2 machine, the P2S, I have no doubts there will be a learning curve, because it will be the same software. It will be slightly different nuances in terms of features. So for example, on the S1, it doesn't have a camera, but I can mark it. I do a mark on it. I move the laser head manually. I press a button on the actual laser and it will mark that position on the bed on the software, versus a camera, take a picture. I can do real-time framing. It's just little features like that that will change from machine to machine. But I'm excited to get my hands on the O1 and just see how easy it is to use, because I'm already brought into this ecosystem, and just how I can synergize with my other lasers, with my other machines, to make products that customers want. So I'm very, very excited. I'm looking to up my game into the color. I've been asked numerous times about doing color products, and now I have that ability with the O1. And if anyone wants to find out any information about the O1, I will drop that in the comments, and I can also offer a discount on the O1 using Host Assist. So if you're looking to buy the O1, reach out to me. I'm happy to get you a discount. Be very, very glad to get you a discount on that. As soon as I get my O1, I will be demoing in it day and night. So please do check it out. And that is all for me for today. So this was just more of an informative session. And I should know I'm not a very good sales guy. If you use the code Wayne20, you'll get £20 off any existing discount, or should. If you don't, again, reach out to me. My contact details are on screen. I don't bite. Please do let me know what you think. I'll be online again early Saturday morning, 10 a.m. I'll be doing a product demo specifically of the M2, and it's more going to be questions and answers. So I'm going to answer some of the most common questions people have in terms of printing, print to cut, using the rotary device, how it attaches with the air purifier. So for example, I got the air purifier over here, and if I was to zoom in on the air purifier, this is attached now to the M2. So I have this one attached directly to here. This one is now venting outside. The F2 Ultra UV I've moved over here and is venting outside. When I get the O1, I'll look at putting it here, moving this stuff down here maybe, or over here, because I can put it into there. I don't need to be near a window. So we do have many options for you in terms of accessories and things like that. So please do reach out. Thank you for tuning in, and I will see you bright and early, bushy tailed on